In this video, we are diving deep into one of the hottest debates happening right now across Africa's business landscape: why smart entrepreneurs are leaving Nigeria and setting up shop in Kenya and Rwanda. If you've been following the shifts in African innovation, you already know something big is happening. Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation and a hub for creativity, is slowly losing some of its brightest minds to countries that are positioning themselves as more business friendly. But the real question is, why is this happening and what does it mean for the future of African entrepreneurship? And can Nigeria bounce back? Stick with me to the end because this video is packed with insights, case studies, and strategies you don't want to miss. Before we jump in, if you love content about business, Africa's economic future, and entrepreneurship, make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and drop a like on this video. Also, let me know in the comments if you are an entrepreneur yourself. Are you planning to stay in Nigeria, or are you considering Kenya, Rwanda, or even other African countries? I would love to hear your thoughts. Nigeria has long been celebrated as Africa's giant, home to over 200 million people, a vibrant culture, and incredible entrepreneurial energy. But in recent years, cracks in the system have started to show. Entrepreneurs are battling with issues like inconsistent government policies, rising inflation, inadequate infrastructure, and insecurity. Many say that doing business in Nigeria feels like running an obstacle course blindfolded. These challenges are driving innovators, startup founders, and even established business leaders to look elsewhere. And two countries that keep coming up again and again are Kenya and Rwanda. Now, why these two? On the surface, Kenya and Rwanda may not appear to compete with Nigeria's massive market size, but if you dig deeper, you will see they've positioned themselves as safe havens for entrepreneurship. Both nations have worked hard to create enabling environment, streamline regulations, better access to funding, political stability, and infrastructure that actually works. And that's why today we are seeing a migration of talent and capital away from Lagos and Abuja toward Nairobi and Kigali. Here is what we'll cover in this video. First, we'll break down the core challenges entrepreneurs face in Nigeria. Then we'll look at what Kenya and Rwanda are doing differently. We also explore case studies of startups that have moved or expanded there, and we'll discuss what this trend means for the continent's future. Finally, we'll ask, what must Nigeria do to stop this brain drain? So let's get into it, and don't forget, you will want to watch till the end because the solutions we'll share might just spark your next big business move. The first thing we need to address is Nigeria's environment for business. On paper, Nigeria is every entrepreneur's dream, a massive market with young tech-savvy people hungry for solutions. In fact, Nigeria consistently produces some of Africa's biggest unicorns. Think Flutterwave, Paystack, and Andela. But here is the catch: for every success story you hear, there are countless entrepreneurs struggling in silence. Why? Let's start with infrastructure. Reliable electricity, for example, is still a luxury in many parts of Nigeria. Imagine running a tech company or a factory and having to budget thousands of dollars every month just for diesel generators. That alone eats up profits and discourages investors. Then there is internet connectivity. Yes, it's improving, but the speed and reliability can't always compare to what's available in places like Nairobi. Another pressing issue is policy uncertainty. Entrepreneurs often say that one new government directive can undo months or years of planning. For instance, sudden bans on certain imports, changes in taxation rules, or restrictions on industries like crypto have left many businesses scrambling. Compare that with Rwanda, where policies are not only consistent but designed with input from the business community. And we can't forget about security. From banditry in rural areas to cybercrime in urban centers, entrepreneurs in Nigeria face unique risks that add to the cost of doing business. In contrast, Rwanda is often hailed as one of the safest countries in Africa with low crime rates and strong rule of law. For entrepreneurs who want peace of mind, that's a huge factor. Now let's proceed. If you've ever faced business challenges in Nigeria or anywhere in Africa, Drop your story in the comments. Sharing your experience can help other entrepreneurs learn and navigate these waters better. And of course, don't forget to subscribe if you want more in-depth looks into Africa's business landscape. So why Kenya? Why Rwanda? Let's break it down. Kenya has established itself as East Africa's Silicon Savannah. It's home to a thriving tech ecosystem with companies like Safaricom pioneering mobile money through M-Pesa. This innovation didn't just stay within Kenya, it spread across Africa and even influenced mobile banking globally. For entrepreneurs, Kenya provides a supportive environment with access to investors, incubators, and accelerators. Nairobi has become a magnet for venture capital with more funding deals happening there than in most African cities outside of Lagos. Rwanda, on the other hand, has taken a different route. After its tragic history in the 1990s, the country has rebuilt itself with a focus on governance, efficiency, and technology. Kigali, its capital, is often described as one of the cleanest and safest cities in Africa. But beyond appearances, Rwanda has actively created policies to attract entrepreneurs. For example, registering a business there is straightforward and can be done in less than 48 hours, something that will sound like a fantasy to many Nigerians who have struggled through red tape and bureaucracy. Both Kenya and Rwanda also invest heavily in infrastructure. Kenya boasts some of the best internet connectivity in Africa, while Rwanda has positioned itself as a hub for conferences, tech, and logistics. For many entrepreneurs, the choice becomes clear. Would you rather fight endless battles in Nigeria or scale your business more smoothly in East Africa? Another key point driving this shift is access to funding. Venture capitalists are more likely to invest in environments where the risks are manageable and the legal system is reliable. In Nigeria, while we see big deals happening and many investors complain about unpredictability and governance issues, but in Kenya, investors are flocked to startups across fintech, agri-tech, and edtech. In fact, Kenya consistently ranks among the top 3 African countries in startup funding, often trading places with Nigeria and South Africa. Rwanda might not have the same level of startup funding as Kenya yet, but it compensates with government-backed initiatives. The Rwanda government has partnered with organizations like the World Economic Forum to establish innovation hubs and provide support for startups. Entrepreneurs who move there often talk about how accessible government officials are compared to Nigeria, where bureaucracy and politics can slow things down. And here is where it gets interesting. Some Nigerian entrepreneurs are now expanding first into Kenya or Rwanda before scaling globally. They see these countries as easier launch pads for innovation, and that trend says a lot. Also, the challenges in Nigeria go beyond infrastructure and policies. They also touch on the day-to-day realities of running a business. One of the most frustrating issues for entrepreneurs is the lack of reliable institutions. In many cases, entrepreneurs complain about corruption and favoritism, getting approvals, licenses, or even fair treatment from certain government bodies can require connections or extra incentives. For startups that simply want to focus on growth, this becomes a distraction that drains energy. In contrast, Rwanda has branded itself as a country that works. If you talk to entrepreneurs in Kigali, many will tell you our processes are digitalized, transparent, and straightforward. Need to register your company, go online, fill out your details, and you'll be done in less than 2 days. Need a government service, it's often just a click away. This efficiency saves entrepreneurs both time and money, allowing them to focus on building their businesses instead of navigating bureaucracy. Kenya also scores high here, especially with its vibrant network of private sector organizations that support startups, whether it's mentorship, accelerator programs, or access to co-working spaces. Entrepreneurs in Nairobi often find themselves surrounded by a supportive ecosystem. This contrasts sharply with Nigeria, where many startups often feel like they are building an isolation without enough institutional support. It's no wonder then that many Nigerian entrepreneurs are not just moving their operations but also relocating their families. They see Kenya and Rwanda as safer, more predictable places to live, work, and raise children, all of which matter when making long term business decisions. Now let's talk about the cost of doing business because this factor plays a massive role in decision making. In Nigeria, hidden costs pile up. Power outages force entrepreneurs to buy generators and fuel. Import restrictions make it difficult to access raw materials at competitive prices. Poor roads mean logistics become more expensive, and insecurity often requires private security services, which is another major cost. Now, compare that with Kenya and Rwanda. Yes, these countries are not perfect. Power cuts happen in Kenya, and Rwanda is still growing its logistics capacity, but the difference is the scale and predictability. In Kenya, there are established logistics companies that make distribution easier. In Rwanda, infrastructure development is prioritized at a national level, so entrepreneurs know improvements are on the way and not just empty promises. This difference in predictability is critical. Entrepreneurs can plan long term in Kenya and Rwanda, whereas in Nigeria, uncertainty makes it difficult to forecast or expand. For example, an entrepreneur importing goods into Nigeria may find their entire business model disrupted by a sudden government ban. Meanwhile, Rwanda has built a reputation for policy stability, making it easier for investors and entrepreneurs to trust the system. When businesses know their costs won't spiral out of control due to sudden shocks, they can focus on innovation, scaling, and attracting customers. This is exactly why some Nigerian businesses are shifting their headquarters abroad while still tapping Nigeria's markets remotely. Another factor we need to look at is education and talent. Nigeria undeniably has a massive pool of young, educated people, but here is the challenge. Many of them are leaving. The Japa trend, where Nigerians migrate abroad in search of better opportunities, has drained the country of skilled talent. For entrepreneurs, this creates a double problem. First, finding quality employees is becoming harder, and second, retaining them is almost impossible because young workers are constantly searching for opportunities overseas. Kenya and Rwanda, meanwhile, have invested heavily in education and talent development. Kenya has world-class universities and technical institutions that churn out skilled graduates who are ready for the workforce. Nairobi has also become a hub for international companies setting up regional offices, which in turn exposes local talent to global best practices. Rwanda, while smaller, has positioned itself as an education and innovation hub through partnerships with global institutions. Rwanda now hosts programs in tech, data science, and business leadership. The government even created Kigali Innovation City, a hub designed to attract universities, research institutions, and tech firms. This means entrepreneurs have access to a growing pool of motivated, skilled talent, something that is becoming harder to find in Nigeria. Talent is the lifeblood of any business. Without it, even the best idea fails. That's why many Nigerian entrepreneurs are making the tough decision to leave. They need ecosystems where they can find and keep the people who will help them build. So here is the bottom line. Smart entrepreneurs are not leaving Nigeria because they want to abandon their own country. They are leaving because the conditions make it nearly impossible to build sustainably. Kenya and Rwanda have stepped up, offering stable policies, supportive ecosystems, and predictable environments. And as long as this continues, more and more Nigerian entrepreneurs will make the move. But here is the important takeaway. This is not a story of doom. It's a wake-up call. Nigeria still has immense potential, but it must act fast to create a business environment that keeps its talents at home. Otherwise, it risks losing not just entrepreneurs but also its future. Now, I would love to hear from you. Do you think Nigeria can reverse this trend, or will Kenya and Rwanda take over as the new centers of African innovation? Drop your thoughts in the comment below. I read every single one. And if you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with other entrepreneurs, and of course, subscribe so you don't miss our deep dives into Africa's changing business landscape. Let's keep this conversation going because the future of African entrepreneurship depends on it.